Hi, everybody, and welcome to Proline. As we're back for another season, rocking and rolling with the colleges and the NFL, and this is going to be a college football preview show. We're going to break down the ACC, and the guys that are here to do it, John Cranton for Jim Feist Sports, Chip Chirimbes, Mr. A-Play himself, Jeff Saad from Las Vegas Sports Services, and I am Dave Cokin. Before we get started, we want to let everybody know about some terrific specials that are in place right now that you can take advantage of, and I think put some good money in your pocket. NFL Preseason is underway, and that's good news for Jim Feist, John. Jim had a great preseason last year, and he's got a great offer to start this season as well.
Yeah, last August, there's just so many soft numbers in August. Last NFL preseason, Jim was 24-15-1 with all plays. That included 10-1 with his top high roller plays. You can get the entire NFL preseason executive service plays from Jim. That's going to include his preseason game of the year, 4 full weeks for $19. 1-866-841-1655.
All right, well, Chip,
yeah,
I think everybody's gotten to know the A-Play over the years. The A-Play's been around. I'm not going to say how many years it's been around because it's, But the thing is,
here when we started.
You know what? It shows in this business. This is a business where names change. You know, one year somebody's operating as one service. The next year they change the name. They're another service. You know what you get here? You got guys who use their real names and have been doing it under the same name for more than 30 years. You don't do that unless you're winning. And Chip, those Megabucks plays have been great over the years, and this, obviously you expect it to continue.
Yeah, I do, Dave, and thank you very much for that. And you're right. 30 years ago, Dave was in Rhode Island, and I was in Stamford, Connecticut, and we were working together then. And when I had the A-Play show, Dave, you won a handicapping contest on a National Football League for the entire season. And we've gone out, and both of us now working out of Las Vegas and working with Jim Feist Sports. It's been great for a long run for us. And like you said, it's because we've had discipline and consistency, and we've won over the long term. I hang my hat on something called the Megabucks. This is my single strongest play. This is why we used to call my service the A-Play. The one big play, the Megabuck winner. And I have a tremendous offer for everyone for the next 2 weeks during NFL preseason. I'm going to skip the NBA, and we're going to go to Major League Baseball and include all my Megabuck winners for only $10 for the next 2 weeks. These are high roller plays. They're on a daily basis. These are games you can step out on. These are games you can play with confidence. These are games you're going to win with. So give me a call, $10 for 2 weeks at 866-841-1665. That's 866-841-1665. Get 2 weeks of Megabuck winners for Major League Baseball and NFL preseason action. Don't miss out. You'll be glad you did. 866-841-1665.
You know, Las Vegas Sports Services is an easy name to remember, LVSS. But if it were based on Jeff's personality, I think Jeff could call it matter-of-fact sports, because it's a matter of fact that he just puts together good numbers in every sport, and he does it in a matter-of-fact fashion. Like, it's not a big deal. There's not a real whole lot of hype out of Jeff Saad. I guess that's the way you can do it when you have that confidence level and you got the numbers that back it up. It's just rock steady year after year. NFL preseason was outstanding last year and off to a great start this year as well, Jeff.
Yeah, no frills. That's my philosophy. Last year, my preseason record was 19-10, 66%. I'm already 1-0 this season because they had the Saints over the Cardinals on Sunday. I'm going to give you the rest of the preseason, the entire month of August in preseason football, plus the August baseball, all for a grand total of $25. All you have to do is call LVSS at 1-866-575-8918. Get the rest of the preseason, entire preseason, plus August baseball for only $25. 1-866-575-8916.
I don't get that excited myself, except when I'm talking Red Sox. Not a lot to be excited about this year either. What I do get excited about is the NFL preseason. I really do like it. I think there's more of an advantage to the better in the preseason than you can find in any other sport at any other time of year. just because it's the only time of the year where the coaches tell you what they're going to do before the game starts. I mean, are you kidding? They tell us who's going to be out there. Well, this guy's going to play 2 series. We're going to do this. And you can't play every game. You have to pick your spots because most of the time it's vanilla information and really there's not a whole lot to gather. But on a handful of games each week, to a varying degree, you will have an advantage. Sometimes it's actually a really big advantage. I've got 3 games this week that I definitely think the odds are in my favor in these games. Not because of one team being better than the other, just because of what we know is going to be the game plan and the rotation going in. And if you got that, you got an edge. So I'm going to go with a 3-0 guarantee for this first week. You got to get all 3 games into the win column, or the rest of my action plays for the entire balance of the preseason are going to be free, and I'll include my preseason game of the year, which, by the way, has won 7 years in a row. So that's pretty good play when it shows up. Right. $20, guaranteed 3-0. That's easy enough. One phone call makes it even easier. 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Okay, let's get into some ACC football. This is not the best league out there. The SEC is the best league. But the ACC is solid. And they could have a team that we'll look at in this conversation that I think could be a contender to win the whole thing. But we're going to start it off. Chip, let's start off with you and talk about a team that's, they're going to have a quarterback who excited everybody. Right. By the way, this is a quarterback-happy league. The 8 quarterbacks last year passed for more than 2,500 yards in the ACC. They love to throw the ball. You got 5 returnees threw for more than 3,000 yards. And then you have Tevin Washington down at Georgia Tech who ran for roughly 1,000 yards. Clemson is one of those teams with an exciting quarterback, Taj Boyd. This guy was, he was electrifying at times last year. You couldn't stop him. Wow. And there's a great building block for the Tigers.
Well, he had 33 touchdown passes last year, 12 INTs, but he did throw for over 3,800 yards. And they also have Ellington returning. He ran for 5.8 yards per attempt. The offense wasn't a problem with this club. They were 10-4 last year. They won the ACC, beating Virginia Tech. We were against them on our game of the year when they came and played in the Orange Bowl and gave up 70 points. And there's the rub with this club. Defensively, they gave up over 28 points a game throughout the season. They're going to have to improve on that end of the ball. Their offense is coming back. I think they have 8 players back on offense and 7 players back on defense. But who knows if you even want those 7 players back on defense, the way they performed last year. But like you said, it's a pass-happy conference. These guys were exciting to watch. It's great to watch them play, and they're going to put up a lot of points this year, and they're going to get a lot of victories. Whether they make the number depends on the situation. So often in college football, particularly when a team is high and they're coming off a big win, the next week they have a chance of getting lambasted, and it happens time in and time again to everyone. And I can see Clemson really being in the hunt at the end, but they're going to have to come up defensively somewhere along the line.
Well, I'll tell you one team that can play some defense. That's this Florida State squad. Yeah. This is a really good football team. I'm not ruling out them being in the phony title game at the end of the year. These guys are loaded. They got 16 starters back, 7 on offense, 9 on defense. The quarterback, E.J. Manuel's back in place. The staff looks like it's really cohesive. Jimbo Fisher's doing a nice job. Mark Stoops, excellent defensive coordinator. Listen, 9 starters back on a defense that only gave up about 15 points a game last year. They are going to be really, really stingy. The worries I've got in this team, offensive line, they gave up more than 3 sacks a game last year. Now, some of that was E.J. Manuel just kind of walking into the sacks. But they do need to improve that. But I'm looking up and down this team, and I just don't see any weaknesses. Manuel's a senior now. You got to think he's going to – I don't know that Manuel's playing at the next level, but I think he's a solid guy, and he should be a good game manager this year. And that's what you want on this team is good game management. With their defense, as long as the offense doesn't make mistakes and screw things up, they're going to win almost every game. Devontae Freeman, watch for him to explode this year at running back. I like Rashad Green. Rodney Smith is a huge target. He's probably going to play at the pro level down the road. Christian Green, exciting sophomore. There's nothing not to like about this football team. Nothing. I absolutely think Florida State's got a chance to win every game they're in this year, and would not be at all surprised to see them playing for the marbles in January. Let's go to Georgia Tech, Jeff. Well, one thing we know what they're going to do when they've got the football, because that's what they do under Paul Johnson. Boy, do they do it well.
Yeah, it's going to be a typical option offense led by senior quarterback Tevin Washington and a very experienced offensive line where 4 starters return. They're hoping for better things from running back David Sims after he has a year under his belt in the option offense. Actually, the leading rusher last year was the quarterback, Washington. If they have to come from behind, it could be even tougher than usual because they lost their top 3 receivers. They really don't have any experience at wide receiver. Defensively, the entire secondary is back. They have one of the best linebackers in the country in Jeremiah Tauchu. They only returned 2 on the defensive line. The first game was at Virginia Tech, the 7.5-point dogs. Then the Yellow Jackets have 4 home games. Then they have to play Clemson and North Carolina on the road. Last year they started off 6-0 and lost 5 of the last 7, and they were only 1-7 against the spread in the last 8 games. They'll be better than that this year. I think I'm looking at a 9-3 season for Georgia Tech and probably in second place behind Virginia Tech in the Coastal Division, Dave.
All right, that sounds like a good season. NC State, they had a good year last year. They won 9 games. A lot of people back, John. The bulk of this team's talent is back, so you would think that they're excited about the prospects for a good year in Raleigh.
Oh, yeah. We all know that coaching is such a huge element in football, and NC State has one of the best in Tom O'Brien. I mean, when he was at Boston College, they did an outstanding job there, and NC State went after him hard. You can see why. The guy's organized, he's disciplined, he's a former Marine, and he's also been a cover machine, too, which we pay attention to. When NC State has won a game straight up the last 26 times, they're a perfect 26-0 against the spread, and if you give this guy an extra week to prepare, which usually includes the bowl games, he's 9-0 against the spread, so he gets it done. And there's a lot to be excited about for the Wolfpack. They're off a 9-win season. He's got 7 starters back on offense, 7 on defense. The thing to pay attention to with the Wolfpack would be the passing attack. They ranked 54th in the nation last year with 240 yards per game in the air, and they've got their senior quarterback back, Mike Glennon. He had 31 touchdowns, 12 picks, just over 3,000 yards. They do lose their top 2 wide receivers, but there's very good depth at that position, and they potentially have very good balance on offense because senior running back James Washington is back. He had 897 yards. So this is going to be a very good team, and we're going to get a chance to see them right off the bat. They open August 31st at home against the Tennessee Vols of the SEC. Only trouble for winning the ACC, though, would be some difficult road games at Miami, at North Carolina, and Clemson. But overall, this should be another bowl team for O'Brien.
I'm trying to figure out Miami. It's not like I think they're a bad football team, but it may be just a case of the wrong year for Miami because, Chip, there's so many experienced quarterbacks, proven quarterbacks in this league. Miami doesn't have that, and they just don't have a lot of company in that regard this year. I think there's some real question marks in this team, don't you?
I was just going to say, Dave, that nothing but question marks with this club. This is a team that in the past has always had a prolific quarterback. I mean, we've seen some great Heisman winners come out of Miami, and this year they don't know where they're going to go. Not only that, there's a lot of problems down here, Dave. I mean, the new coaching system coming in, and players have left Miami, and they didn't get the recruiting class that they had anticipated on having. They're going to try and build on defense again. Their running back, who I thought was at best, maybe out of a rating from 1 to 10 was a 7.5. He gets drafted into the NFL and is gone. And I don't see much hope for the Hurricanes this year. I don't think they're going to be in the top of the pack. I think that they're going to take a step back before they take a step forward. Recruiting's been a big problem down here, and I'm reading about it every day down in Miami. It seems that they all have gone north, either Tallahassee or Gainesville, and it looks like Miami's going to struggle this year. I'd be very surprised if they may make a bowl. I mean, they actually can. How many games do you have to win to go to a bowl game? You go 7-6 or 8-5. They can do that, but I'm not impressed so far with what I've read and what I've seen. I think it's going to be a difficult season for the Hurricanes.
Well, North Carolina's going to be interesting. They brought in Larry Fedora, as the head football coach. Of course, it was just a disaster down there with this academic fraud, impermissible benefits, just a real mess of problems at North Carolina. So they can't go to a bowl this year. That's among other sanctions. So that's a challenge right there for Fedora. He's got to try and keep his team focused with no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow available for this season. There's also going to be some changes in terms of philosophy. Larry Fedora likes to run things wide open. We saw what he did at Southern Miss, and he's going to run the same type of thing here. He's got 8 starters back on offense. They've got 5 back on defense. Britton Renner put up some good numbers, but here's the thing on Renner. He's a drop-back style quarterback. He plays what you call an NFL style, and I think the pros are looking at him actually. But this is going to be a different type of offense that he's in. Fewer backs, tight ends, more wide receivers in patterns. It's a lot more spread out, and I'm not sure that it's going to work well for a guy who kind of needs time in the pocket to be successful. Things are moving a lot faster in a Fedora offense. I think there could be I think he'll figure it out, but I think at the outset it might be difficult for North Carolina. So we'll see what happens early with this football team. I also don't know. I don't know whether he can run, because we know that at Southern Miss, the quarterback, the idea is if you can't get your target, pull the ball down and run. Well, Renner can't run. I think he had negative yardage last year in the North Carolina offense. This is, to me, a question mark as to how he fits with the offense. Also, they're changing the scheme on defense. They're going to a 4-2-5. North Carolina has good talent, but with all the changes that are taking place in schemes, returning talent that's going to be running new type of philosophies, and the fact that they're not eligible for a bowl, I think there could be some rough spots for North Carolina. I don't think they'll be as good as a lot of people think they're going to be. And so I'm slightly bearish, I think you would say, on North Carolina. I think they'll be middle of the pack, and that's about it this season in the ACC. I think they'll get passed by some squads. But I do like Fedora as a long-term hire, and I think the program's going to be on solid footing with him as the head coach. Virginia Tech, now you talk about cohesion. Man, oh man, have they got it. Jeff Beamer, Bud Foster, and a lot of people back on defense. Not so many on offense, but the quarterbacks, he's a good one. And I think Virginia Tech could be, well, guess what? They're going to be good again, Jeff. The question is how good.
Well, a great defense again. 9 starters returned, including the entire front 7. Offense, different story. Only 2 starters returned, but fortunately, one of them is quarterback Logan Thomas, who threw for more than 3,000 yards last year and had 11 rushing touchdowns. Hokies lost their best running back, David Wilson, and went to the NFL. They also lost 4 offensive linemen and their 2 leading wide receivers. Luckily, the early schedule was not that tough. They opened a home versus Georgia Tech, which could be a tough game, but then they play FCS, Austin Peay, then Pittsburgh, and Bowling Green. So their young offense will get a chance to get some experience before they get into the thick of the conference schedule. Last season, Frank Beamer's teams normally do well in revenge situation. There could be some concern here, but they uncharacteristically got blown out by Clemson in the ACC title game, and before losing to Michigan in the bowl game. This year they have to play Clemson on the road again, but they get Florida State at home. Last year, they were only 4-9-1 against the spread, and with this inexperienced offense, it could have some trouble covering some of the bigger numbers this year. But overall, I see this team winning the Coastal Division, the ACC, and maybe a 10-2 or maybe even 11-1 season, Dave.
And you know what? They don't even have to win it to get to the championship game, because if North Carolina happens to win it, well, guess what? They don't go. So Virginia Tech's in a really good spot. And the thing I've liked about them over the years is when Bud Foster has an experienced defense, they're really good. This is a very experienced defense. I think that team could be strong. Just a tip for you guys that are watching right now. You want to pick up really good information throughout the season now. You know, this is where Twitter comes in handy. I mean, you can follow the beat reporters or the guys who cover the teams for like Rivals.com. That's their job, is the information that's out there is absolutely phenomenal. So make sure, I can't believe when I hear people, I'm not on Twitter. Really? You're not on Twitter? That's where news breaks. Okay, it's the best news source out there right now is Twitter. You really need to be on there if you're serious about this stuff. And you can follow me at Twitter as well. I give out some information. Mostly I use it as a forum to just rant about things that, especially if I'm watching a game that I bet on. So I can be fun. At Dave Cokin. Make sure and check that out. All right. That's our rundown of some of the better teams in the ACC. Of course, right now we've got preseason football taking place. Once again, we want to let everybody know about our special offers. Mine is for a guaranteed 3-0 sweep this week in preseason football. I've got 3 games that I feel really good about. I'm going to guarantee success on all 3 or the rest of the NFL preseason. All my action plays will be free, plus the big game, my preseason game of the year. Looking to make it 8 straight in the win column on that. The cost for the 3-0 guarantee, $20, just $20. So make the call now to 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. Mr. 60%, Jeff Saad, doing it again. Only 100% right now in the NFL preseason. Of course, it's only been 1 game, but you did win it, Jeff.
A win is a win. I'll give you all 4 weeks of the NFL preseason, the rest of August baseball for a grand total of $25. Just call LVSS 1-866-575-8916. NFL preseason plus baseball at $25. 1-866-575-8916.
And you can get your first taste of a Megabucks winner in the NFL tonight from Chip Chirimbes.
Dave, thanks. We run well with our top games. The Megabuck play now for 30 years has been the lead in sports, and for the A play in particular, top game each and every day. Going to give you 2 weeks of NFL and Major League Baseball Megabuck winners for only $10. These are high roller plays. These are plays you can step out on. These are plays you can have confidence in when you sit and call and get down on this contest. So I'm going to give it to you for $10 for 2 weeks. 866-841-1665. Give me a call. It's one of the best value in all the sports. 2 full weeks of high roller winners from the big game player. Get my Megabuck winner from Chip Chirimbes. 866-841-1665.
Well, John, Jim Feist gets good information, and that gets good results. And last year, better than 60% in the NFL preseason on 40 plays. So a lot of volume. And when you hit that percentage with volume, that means a lot of profits. He's ready to do it again. And by the way, the top plays last year were just ridiculous.
Yeah, volume and soft numbers all over the NFL board from Jim. 24-15-1 he was with all his preseason plays from last year. His high roller plays were 10-1. He's ready to do it again. You can get on board the entire NFL preseason executive service plays. That's 4 full weeks. It's going to include his preseason game of the year. All this for $19 by signing up now at 1-866-841-1655.
Okay, that's going to do it for this edition of College Pro Line, if you will. We're going to come back next week with another conference preview. So the guys will all be back. So for Jeff Saad from Las Vegas Sports Services, Chip Chirimbes, John Cranton for Chip Feist Sports, I'm Dave Cokin. Thanks a lot for watching. Let's knock 'em dead this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week here on Pro Line. See ya.
Take care.